my great friend from over at Wager Talk, Carmine. What's up?
How are you? I had to get you back from your birthday trip to Italy, where I was getting the pictures from you and Kelly. I thought I had been on the show because you still harbored some ill will from when the Bills beat the Ravens in the playoffs. But we won't mention that, nor will I
You
mention
went there.
the Bills helmet that's behind me here. But it's all
You
good.
went there. And I have not my Ravens helmet's there behind me. It doesn't get the spotlight yet. It has to wait until September for the spotlight because now my Yankees take center stage and we're in basketball season and we're in hockey season. And what I should have worn today was the great sweatshirt that you gave me. So Carm is awesome and he hosts shows on Wager Talk. You know his co-host Andrew McKinnis, who comes on the show with us a lot too. Carm, how has the Stanley Cup playoffs been treating you?
It's good. It's been fun. I was really hot when I was in Italy. Believe it or not, I had some people on the Puck Time show when I returned saying, "Stay in Italy because your picks." I was doing a daily picks thing, and they were all hitting. So with fewer games now, it's a little tougher. You know what I mean? You look at like last night's game, and obviously
Hey, the Kings
Carolina
survived. My friends in Carolina were
survived.
thrilled that they finally got a win in the Eastern Conference Finals.
First in 16 games. It was 15 straight losses for them in the Eastern Cup and looking like 4 straight sweeps dating back to 2009. But they got the win. They played well. I hate to say it. I think it's more that Florida just didn't play as well as they normally do. I think they will respond in Carolina for Game 5. But as I say to Andrew each and every day, and anyone who tunes in to watch Puck Time, I would love to see it go 7 games. The more games you get to see, the better it is. When we run out of games, it is then baseball season, and north of the border here, while I'm waiting for NFL, it's football season, but CFL football.
Do you do anything with CFL?
No, I leave that to Andrew. Andrew is absolutely lights out with CFL.
Gabe Morency does a ton of CFL. It's hilarious.
Yeah, Gabe and Cam. I used to run into them all the time at a sports bar here in Toronto when they worked for Sportsnet, and those guys are just absolutely phenomenal guys, and they love their CFL.
They're
And I don't think Gabe.
Party. One big party, Carmen. Hold on. Let me get you back here. We do have your stuff for tonight. You've got your card for the Stars-Oilers game, which is at 8:10 p.m. Eastern time. The Oilers, minus 152 on the money line. They've got a total of 6.5 in this game. And you're looking at the first period over. Why?
So a couple of reasons for this one. You look at the numbers as far as I expect some pushback from Dallas, losing 6-1 and getting embarrassed in game 3, and they really didn't play as bad as that final score might dictate. Ottinger didn't play as well as he normally did, but I think his defense kind of let him hang out to dry in that one. But if you look at some of the statistics, the Oilers in 6 home games have gone over the first period total in 5 of them. And while the Stars have played 7 road games and only gone over in 4 of the 7 games, they're 4-3. It's still a profitable angle given the vig that was associated with each one of those games. And you look at the first 3 games that they played in the series and the expected goals, which does tell you a lot about how these teams are playing in the opening 20 minutes. Game 1, 2.51 expected goals. Game 2, 2.21 expected goals. Game 3 had the lowest number, but still at 1.55. So these teams have generated in the opening 20 minutes in 3 games at least just a little over 6 expected goals. And I'm expecting Dallas to come out and at least play better in the opening 20 minutes and try and get that early lead. They're a much better team playing ahead than they are playing from behind. But I will say this, Ariel, is I don't want to take the Dallas Stars in the first period on the money line. It was an option I looked at. They have not led in 7 games after 20 minutes. They have trailed in 5 and been tied after 20 minutes in 2 of those games, while the Oilers have one of the best records after the opening 20 minutes, going 5-1. I think it's 4-1-1 in 6 home games. They've only trailed once in 6 home games. So there's some numbers that support taking Edmonton in the first period, but that line is, as you mentioned, the game line is 150-ish across the board, and the first period numbers plus or minus 145. So there's really no value in taking them in the first period if you think they're going to win the game.
Sean Michael said, if you think Edmonton wins, you should take -1.5, right? Closeout games feel like they almost always win 2+.
They do. It's I think the only thing that's keeping me off of taking, let's say, the Oilers in regulation, and you really don't have to take them in, let's say, regulation or on the puck line, is that this is one of those games that I expect Dallas to play better. I'm cheering for the Oilers because I'd love to see the Cup come north of the border for the first time since '92 when Andrew McInnes's Montreal Canadiens did it. But we also know that 45% of every team's lineup has Canadians, is made up of Canadians. We just
It
learned about
doesn't
you
count.
guys.
You have to
It
be
is.
on the team.
Yes, that is true. It is the argument of all arguments. The Olympics and the World Championships are the only ones where it's actually nation versus nation. But a lot of the players, I will say, are Canadians. We loan them out, or they like the tax structure better in the U.S. than they do in Canada, where we're overtaxed. But that's probably a topic for a different day.
That's a topic for Kelly in Vegas. Someone did ask this, though. Do you ever look at who's reffing? I heard the Leafs are 0-9 in the playoffs with Sutherland and 0-15-ish with Wes McCauley.
Yeah, I don't think they're. I do look at the referee matchups at times, but mainly for Toronto, because there are a couple refs, and he's mentioned it, to where Toronto just doesn't play well with these. They absolutely hate Wes McCauley, and you can almost look at it and say it's almost like that rinse and repeat one. It's you just want to take them because the reps are aware of the fact that they read what's on social media, they read what the player or hear what the players are saying, and I think they do take it personally at times. So sometimes you have to look at that. Andrew mentioned today, this series, and if it went 7 games, the Oilers would be in an unfavorable position. That Peter DeBoer, the coach of the Dallas Stars, is like, I think, 8-0 in game 7s. I wouldn't want to. Those are ones that you got to take with a grain of salt because Peter DeBoer isn't on the ice. They came back in game 7 against Colorado, scoring a couple of goals in the final 4 minutes of the game to win that one. He had nothing to do with it. He wasn't on the ice. It was Colorado that bottled that game, gave it up, and lost. So I tend to take the stats that are on the ice instead of behind the bench. It's like Teddy says, sometimes you find a streak, you don't want to get in front of it. Try not to catch a falling knife, as Teddy would say.
Hey, listen, it's what I say too about umpires and in the NFL with refs. Like, there's only so much that you could look at before your brain absolutely explodes. I love that you gave me some props for tonight because you know that we love our props over here. I never really get too many unders for shots on goal when I have hockey guests. Why are we going under?
All right, so here's one that you look at, and I think a lot of people, when they go to books, certain books, and like DK being one of them, it'll show what the person averages thus far in the playoffs. And if you look at Evan Bouchard of the Oilers, it shows that he's averaging 2.8 shots per game. The one thing you have to look at is that number's inflated. He had one game against the LA Kings where he had 9 shots on goal, and that inflated the number. You take away that game, and Evan Bouchard is averaging 1.92 shots per game, and he's gone under. I think in of their 14 games, I think he's gone under in 9 of them. So it is a number, I think, that laying minimal vig on. You don't want to lay anything higher than -130 because then the numbers just they just aren't profitable. But at -120, -125 for under 2.5 shots on goal, I can see that one happening. And again, just expecting some Dallas pushback tonight in this game. Whether they win or not, I don't know. But I don't think Bouchard's going to get over that number tonight.
So with the pushback from Dallas, is that why you're assuming that Stuart Skinner is going to have over 23.5 saves?
Yeah, with Stuart Skinner, it is this is one of those ones where you just wonder which version of Stuart Skinner is going to show up tonight. The one that allowed 15 goals in his first 3 games of this year's playoffs, or the Stuart Skinner in the next 5 games allowed only 6, 5 of them in one game, and he's got 3 shutouts and a one goal against game as well too. The thing with him is the over shot prop has hit in 23.5 has hit in 3 of his last 4 games, and in that 5th game, he it was a 3-0 shutout against the Vegas Golden Knights where they shut down the Vegas Golden Knights, and Vegas only had 23 shots on goal. So I don't know what the number was for that game, but it was likely in that same 22.5 to 23 range, 23.5 range. But 3 of the last 4 games, they're playing well. And but again, it's the same thing. I expect Dallas to get pucks on goal tonight.
And the one that you expect to get that puck on goal is Mikko Rantanen, anytime goal scorer at plus 165. Why is he going to be the one?
Well, he's got 12 in the playoffs, and I get it. He's had a couple games where he's had hat tricks. But as Mikko goes, it seems in the playoffs, as Mikko goes, so do the Dallas Stars. In the games in which they've won, of the 9 games they've won, he's had multiple points in those games, and he's scored in 4 of those 9 wins that they've had. A couple of them, as I mentioned, were hat trick affairs. They're going to have to get him going. He hasn't been going in this series at all. I think he has 1, maybe 2 points in this series, and none of them are goals. They need him to score. He scored career-wise against the Edmonton Oilers, both regular season and playoffs. He scored in 42% of his games against the Edmonton Oilers. Now, that number doesn't seem very high, but it is when you consider it is a goal being scored and not a point being registered. They really need him tonight. If they get a power play, he's the guy that they're going to key on getting shots on goal as well too. I looked at the shots on goal; it was just unplayable. The numbers are too high. The big is too high. Same with Draisaitl and McDavid. Just to go off on a bit of a tangent with them, the numbers are just too high, and it doesn't support their stats thus far for the playoffs. But Rantanen, if the Stars show up tonight, Rantanen will be a part of it, and he'll score. And at plus 165, it's pizza money.
It's like a home run prop. Anytime goal scorer in hockey is like a home run prop. So to hit that at 42%, in my eyes, is great. And I know that, I'm assuming goals scored by certain players makes more sense, but these anytime touchdown, anytime goal scorers, home run props. How do you handicap an anytime goal scorer when most of the time it's 2-3 goals a game?
It is tough. This is a game in which, I'm not looking to take an anytime goal scorer in any game where the line or the total is at 5 or 5.5. With a total of 6 and 6.5, they just expect some goals to be scored, and they have in this series for the most part. 9 goals in the first game. I think the second game was a 3-0 shutout, but 7 goals in the last game as well too. These are 2 teams that can score, and if Edmonton dictates the pace of the game, then we're likely going to see some scoring. The Stars are going to need some power plays tonight. The only way to get power plays is they have to play a 200-foot game. They have to get into those corners, hope to pick up some power plays and score. That's what they did in that 6-3 victory. They were down 3-1 at the end of 2 periods of play in game 1 and scored 5 goals in the third period. The first 3 on power plays. On their only 3 shots on those 3 power plays, they scored 3 goals. So they're going to need some power plays against this Edmonton Oilers team, create some odd man opportunities. And if they do, that's where you expect the Stars to come out, pun intended.
But I want to guess your Stanley Cup Finals is Edmonton versus Florida.
It seems to be shaping up that way, hopefully with a different result, of course. But this Florida team, absent of yesterday's game, they look like absolute beasts. They just play so well. They roll out 3 and 4 lines and they play so well. And I expect them. I think they end the series tomorrow night, and it's a very low price on them at a minus 110, minus 115. But you look at the last round, and Toronto came to Florida for Game 6, and looking to stave off elimination, and they beat Florida 2-0, much like what Carolina did yesterday, minimizing Florida's shots on goal, keeping them at bay, and fewer opportunities, fewer goals. They got on top early and they won that game and shut them out. Carolina did. It was almost right from the playbook of what Toronto did. But the very next game, Florida goes up to Toronto and completely spanks them 6-1. And I was so happy for that to happen, because I am not a Leafs fan. I live in Toronto. I am flooded with friends who are watching right now, I'm sure, who are Leaf fans, and they're insufferable. The Leaf fans are insufferable. It is just the woe is me, Linus with the cloud over his head from Charlie Brown. I think that's Linus. And it's just each and every year they prepare themselves for another heartbreak, and they got it this time around again. So
How
Leafs
would
have not
you?
won a cup since 1967. That's all I'm going to say.
No, it's insane that it's been that long, and I really hope for Canada that you guys who are big hockey people, more so than here where hockey's like the 4th or 5th sport in this country, you guys do deserve it. Now, before I let you go, since there's not really much value in the futures market because the Panthers are plus 105, Edmonton's plus 145, if that's what you think that the finals are going to be, all the value sucked out. Conn Smythe could be where it's at, Carm. Who are you looking at for Conn Smythe?
I have to believe, if you like the Florida, if you think Florida is going to win the cup, I think you take, and I don't have his odds with me, but I think you take Bobrovsky, because he has played lights out for them even when they lose. He allows 1 goal. The final score was 3-0 yesterday, but 2 of those were into empty nets. He allowed 1 goal in that game. He's been playing lights out. He's just such a tough goalie to beat. And we don't normally see a lot of goalies win the Conn Smythe. Last year, I had a fairly good-sized bet on Connor McDavid last year, and I knew that even if they lost the Stanley Cup Finals to Florida, he was going to win it, because he was on a tremendous scoring pace in the playoffs, carrying that team right to the finals, and took him to Game 7, and he won the Conn Smythe. So sometimes it works out. If you like the Edmonton Oilers, it won't be Stuart Skinner. It's going to either be Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl, and there's just not enough in the market there to get you there. If you think Dallas Stars are going to come back and win this series, then maybe dab a little bit on Jake Ottinger, because I think him more so than Mikko Rantanen. Mikko Rantanen's been missing in some games, but Jake's been there, and he's played well and consistent throughout the playoffs. He's always been one of the top goalies in the playoffs. It's just this last game where his goals saved above expectancy was a -3 and change, I believe Andrew mentioned on today's Puck Time show.
Wow. Well, Carm, you are a wealth of info for hockey, and anyone that needs to see, go to Puck Time at Wager Talk. It's Carm, it's Andrew McInnes. They're awesome at what they do, and you guys record pretty early in the day, so you give people a lot of time, no?
Yeah, we record at 11 a.m. Gives everyone enough time. We monitor not only the lines on Odds Logic, which is great for looking at updates on players, whether they're missing or not, and we can see what happens in the morning skates as well too, because that normally happens around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. So by the time we're done the show and giving out some props, we have more information on not really the starting goalies, because we know who it's going to be for the most part, but players like, let's say, like a Rupe Hintz, who is supposed to be a game time decision tonight, but is very unlikely to play for the Dallas Stars. So 11 a.m. we're up and early, and our fearless producer Dan Alexander, who's on the West Coast, is up even earlier because he's got to put the production.
Dan is working his ass off. He's doing such an awesome job, and so are you guys. Carm, thank you so much for coming on the show, and I'll have you on again soon. Good luck with your bets tonight.
Thanks to you as well.
We've got some trends to look for throughout all sports, including the NBA, but I guess we will start. And just by the way,